Hey, this is Mark Smith, host of Digital Roughnecks, and I'm here with my co-host, David Conley.
Hey, how are you?
And in this episode, we're going to talk about how to monitor oil and gas tanks without opening the thief hatch. Now, this is real life stuff. This is a case study that David and I are actually working on with our company, Clean Connect. And we're here with our partner in crime, actually, Mark Fishburne from FLIR. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Mark?
Yeah, hey guys, Mark Fishburne, FLIR Systems. I'm the global key account manager for oil and gas, and I do everything from optical gas imaging, which means seeing gas leaks, VOCs, methane, propane, that kind of stuff, to regular thermography through infrared that's not looking for gas, tank level monitoring that we're going to talk about here today, and a little bit of UAS and drones as well.
Great. Well, let me tell you how we actually work behind the scenes when we're not doing Digital Roughnecks. So we get real life problems from our customers at Clean Connect, and they hit us up and they say, hey, here's the problem we have. Do you have a solution? And many times when we're trying to brainstorm a solution, we're reaching out to Mark here, who has worked through every problem, in the oil and gas space. And then of course we add our special sauce, which is the AI software. So this is a real live case study. Back in May, or actually April, had a client come to us and they said, hey, there's this new regulation. Have you heard about SB 181 Reg 7? Basically, we can't open the thief hatch. Okay, that's how the regulation worked. And so here's the real reg. So Regulation 7 Part D, you can only open the thief hatch twice a year. Okay, and you need to provide continuous tank level monitoring, both quantitative and qualitative. And all the new tanks are subject, that are ones that are built after March 1st, 2020, they're subject right now. And then all tanks are subject after May 1st. Okay. Now, one of the things that we were asked to do was make this particular non-invasive tank level monitoring equal to actually within 10% of guided wave radar. And one of the problems with guided wave radar is you actually have to open the thief hatch to clean it off every so often, which would then get you afoul of the regulation. And these particular regulations have a pretty high fees. So depending on where you're at, like it could be $15,000 a day per infraction, or we know some clients who may have a consent decree and it could go as high as $35,000 a day. Okay, so that's the big negative. On the other hand, if they get it fixed, it opens up a whole new set of opportunities for them. So, when we go if we were just to go to the FLIR website, what you're going to find out is you got a whole lot of tools. Okay. I mean, you got these FBs and F series and FC and stuff like that. So we kind of short circuit and go, hey, Mark, here's the problem. How do we solve this thing? Because you came right away and you were pretty decisive saying, hey, you need to go, and go look at the FB. So why did you just jump to the FB? What does the FB do and why was that good for us?
Yeah, actually, you guys were a referral from this case study. You said the particular end user said, get a hold of these guys. They need help with the cameras, and got a hold of you guys. And quickly, we decided for original testing that we'd use an Alara FB camera, which is cost effective, has a great sensor in it to be able to see what we're seeing there on the left inside the tank. Has a housing on it that can get outdoors and be rugged. And then you guys are taking the stream out of the back of this camera and you're adding the algorithm. So this was a great way that uses a cost-effective security camera that has both infrared and the visual. So we can go back and forth and see these tank levels and solve this problem. And then on the back end, you guys obviously add the algorithm and the AI.
Yeah. So yeah, David, talk about this. Like, how do we? Yeah, where are these set up, and how does this work?
So I was kind of given as kind of the product development guy here at Clean Connect. I was kind of given a situation where they said, okay, we needed to work within these parameters. The number one parameter for this particular use case was cost effective, something that can get the job done with minimal capex or capital expenditures. So that was kind of my number one goal. And whenever I went to, or whenever I ended up talking to FLIR, finally connecting with FLIR, right away it was, okay, I need a sensitive enough camera. The sensitivity had to be very high, but I needed it cost effective. And so that was kind of the two parameters I needed to hit in order to accomplish tank level monitoring. And that's whenever the FB kind of came to the top of the pile. It's a fraction of the cost of some of the, whenever we talk about OGI cameras and things like that, this is a fraction of the cost of like an OGI handheld or something like that. So it worked out really well.
And so what can it do, right? Because we're seeing this image here where, it's time lapsed and, it's able to look at, the different colors on the outside. So what are we actually looking at here?
So here you're looking at a water tank and 2 oil tanks. So depending on the time of day, as the time lapse goes there, you'll see the oil tanks actually have a nice interface level in them. So we can see the interface between water and oil. And then we also see a top line fill level. Kind of the most important thing with tank level monitoring in general is your top line level. That's a BLM regulation where that needs to be measured in inches. There is some benefit to knowing the interface levels as well, which we can also produce. But we can really do anything, including other parts of the regulation, not just regulation, but even just for operational benefit. We have this camera up, but we can look at lots of different things. Right now we're looking at tanks, but as you can see, there's space in between the camera and the tanks. There's a little bit of road. You can see maybe a car drive by. We can detect a car or somebody maybe not wearing a hard hat, or maybe with this technology now, it's not really super necessary to have guys on top of the tanks, which is a huge safety hazard. So with that, we can watch the tops of the tanks and make sure no one's climbing on top of them. And if they are, then they could be out of compliance and send alerts there. But with the data coming out of the FB is a really good camera for this use case, because what you're going to see is a thermal image. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but a very sensitive thermal image where you can see through the tanks, and you can use those cameras that are already going to be on there to monitor your tanks to do other things as well. But we take the image straight out of the camera. We put it in on an on-prem edge node, and we run AI software there at the edge.
In fact,
just a quick update on that, or a quick correction is, we're not Superman. We can't see through tanks. What we're seeing is the heat differentiation.
Right. Yeah. That's what I meant. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
So
X-ray.
Yeah, and we take this data coming from these cameras, and they're connected on-prem. They go through our intelligent edge device, and then we use a protocol called MQTT to get to their SCADA system, through their PLC up to their SCADA system, in the cloud. And we have some future things we're going to be doing here to optimize other equipment on the pad. We can then send the data up to our cloud app. But the beautiful thing is we're essentially turning this camera video imagery into similar SCADA data that they can act on the same way they would do a guided away radar. So it's very powerful to take, because honestly, when we ask them, could you dedicate a guy to staring at a tank all day, like staring at screens? They're like, no way. They want the AI software to automate all that kind of stuff, which is where we come in. So listen, hey, if you'd like to learn more about how to do this and other things, David mentioned a whole bunch of other machine models that we're working on. We have free guide and video walkthroughs called the 3 Steps to Automating Your Pad Operations. And FLIR is throwing in a special bonus that if you sign up for the automation guide, you'll be entered to win a FLIR C5. Tell them why the C5 is a big deal, Mark.
Yeah, this is a great little camera. It's the size of your cell phone, fits in your pocket or your toolkit. You could look at tank levels real quick, electrical components, solar panel components. This one happens to be Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So you can even send some data to your boss man if he's looking at a tablet or something nearby, or you're inside of a berm or something like that. But great little tool to have in your toolkit or your pocket for quick reference.
Right. So, hey, if you're interested in that, you go to digitalroughnecks.com/FLIR, where you can get the free automation guide, and you'll be entered to win the free C5 there. All right. Well, thank you guys for this episode, and I look forward to, this is actually part of a series. This is part 1 of a series. We're going to be doing 2 other parts of this how to choose a camera series. So thanks, guys.